Fans of a certain avian adventuring family have a saying that helps them get through certain times. Life is like a hurricane. And for fans of Disney's Ducktales, the last day or so has really been hectic, like a hurricane, a storm of emotion and information. And that's because in the last 24 hours, something a lot of us have been thinking about or worrying about for a long time has finally been confirmed. And if you haven't seen it online, today I'm sad to report to you that it's pretty much official. DuckTales is ending. Season 3 and the Season 3 finale coming up is the end of the new Disney DuckTales reboot. And as much as I want to talk about that, my feelings about it, why it happened, and what it means for our future as fans, my words aren't the first ones you should hear. This news came out more suddenly than I think Disney intended, through conversations on Twitter and journalists talking about things they've heard of and know, and suddenly it was a topic, and Disney had to put out a statement. And you can find that statement on websites like Variety. And it talks really highly of the show and the showrunners and all the episodes we've had so far. But showrunners Matt Youngberg and Frank Angones really wanted fans to be able to hear it from them. There's been so many things out there, they thought it was important to have their own statement out there so you would know how they felt. And what they put out there was really kind, really heartfelt, and I think really speaks to both who they are, what the show is, and how they've been thinking about it all along. So before we get into my thoughts, I'm going to put that statement on screen now and read it aloud to you. Matt and Frank write, "We've always said that you have to go into every season of a show as if it's your last. Leave nothing on the table, and have faith that your team will eventually be able to top it. With that in mind, we crafted Season 3 of DuckTales as one focused on legacy, on the future of the Duck family, and what that means, tying into questions and mysteries that were set up way back in the very first episode of our show. So ultimately, we were prepared for this season to be our last. Our whole team is proud of the continuing legacy of these characters. Even more so, we're proud of the community that this show has given us. From our dear friends on the crew and cast to all the fans we've met, both in person and online, who share the same love that we have for these incredible characters. We're sure we'll have much more to say later, but right now, we want to thank you for all your kind words and support throughout this whole adventure, and focus on delivering a fittingly epic adventure for Clan McDuck as the series draws to a close. Because at the end of the day, we're all fans, and we're all family. And family truly is the greatest adventure of all." That's weird. Usually there's some kind of crash before we can finish the "Oh no, the ground!" Learning that DuckTales is coming to a close is sad for a lot of us. This show has been phenomenal. Many have called it a masterclass on how to create a timeless remake. I've simply loved it as something that is both completely new and original, but also calls back and respects everything it came from without being beholden to it. It's been a true adventure to go along with the show, to be a part of it in a small way, just making these videos and sharing it with the community. Maybe, if I'm lucky, helping new people find this show, which is just such a nice reimagining of something that was really important to me as a little kid. But what I like most about it in a lot of ways is the longer it's gone on in our new modern world where we're connected through the internet, where you can see the thoughts of the creators of the show as they're creating it on Twitter, where you can meet them at conventions and get to know them. My favorite thing about it has been how truly passionate these creators are. The more I watched the DuckTales crew work, the more I saw how much they cared about making something great. And how clear it was to them the legacy of what was on their shoulders. And in their statement, this letter, you can see that as well. They say right in the beginning of the letter that from the very beginning, not just about DuckTales, but when they make shows in general, Matt and Frank think, this season, we need to make this season as if it's our last. And they've said that at conventions, and they've said that online. And it shows. In season 1, they knew that this might be the only season they got to make DuckTales. And if it was the only season they had to make sure they told these stories right. Starting with Scrooge in one way, having him learn and grow, and having them all come together as a real family in the end. Really creating a new origin for the characters that was deep into the comics, brought out old history from the old show. They did a phenomenal job. And then they had it at the end. They introduced a new hook for a question that people have been asking for years. Who are Huey, Dewey, and Louie's parents? And they were fortunate enough to get a season 2 and explore that idea. And they gave it their all and brought a heartfelt, exciting conclusion to that. And then they got a season 3. And each time, as before, they said, if this is our last season, what do we want to accomplish? And I think, although this is sad for us, it's sad for all of us that this show is coming to an end, I think that mentality has served DuckTales well. Because while we're just finding out now that season 3 is the last season of DuckTales, DuckTales creators have known that for a while. So when it came time to make season 3, it became a show about legacy. Because DuckTales is so much bigger than just DuckTales. The original 1987 show was a program that was almost like an experiment for Disney in some ways. They put more into it than other animated shows at the time. And the whole Disney TV animation experiment, it was one of the shows that helped prove it could take off. Which, as the theme of the show is now, spawned a legacy. More than just a spin-off like Darkwing Duck, with characters that we were familiar with, but whole new shows. Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, Gargoyles, Bonkers, like so many more shows, Tailspin, than I can even remember right now. It kicked off a whole new generation, and that legacy is important. And so in season 3, we've been seeing, in addition to Huey's story, that legacy. And I love that Matt and Frank call that out here. And that's what we've been seeing when we see these Disney afternoon characters. They knew season 3 would be the last. And so I love that they've really put their all into trying to make it something truly special that surpasses just what their show is. And as much as I'm looking forward to seeing this idea of legacy and all the character work they've done over the last 3 seasons come together in the big season 3 finale, there's one more thing I want to talk about. I wanted to talk about why the show was ending. Technically, that's not something I have any idea about or know about. But a lot of times when these things happen and these shows end, they say that a show has been canceled. I don't like that word in this context. That implies that there were more episodes ordered. They planned to have more and something went wrong and ratings tanked and they canceled it, cutting it short before it ended. That's usually what happens when you have a cliffhanger in a show and then they don't produce the next season, but that's not what's happening here. It seems very clear that the creators of the show know and have known for a while that season 3 was going to be the end of it, which is why they might have a really great finale that we can look forward to. But the show is still ending. So what's the difference? Well, it's a little hard to say. If you've been following the show like me for a while, you might have been wondering if this is going to happen. For instance, there was going to be a second round of toys created, and that actually did get canceled. They showed it off at a toy fair, and then they didn't happen. So that seemed a little odd. A bunch of creators on the show, Dana Terrence and Tanner and some of my favorite board artists, all left to go on to other projects, and they're great projects. Those departures, in some ways, just made sense because they might have been great career moves. But then there was also something else that I've heard people in the industry talk about, or at least fans of the industry talk about, that also would have been a factor. And I've been worried about this happening to DuckTales. Well, not worried, but I've been thinking it might happen for a couple of years. I've heard many times before people say that many Disney TV animation shows in the modern era don't make it past 3 seasons. And I've heard that stated in another way, that Disney likes to keep its shows at around 65 episodes because that lets them run them for so many weeks without ever having any reruns. And a lot of shows just don't make it past that. I don't know if any of those factors actually contributed to the end of DuckTales, but they're things that have been on my mind, and it's possible. Ultimately, though, that doesn't matter. The fact is, it is ending. And if you've ever watched this channel before, if you're familiar with me and what I do on YouTube, you know I like to stay positive. I don't like to dwell on negative things. I don't like to put things down. I like to look at what's great about something. And although this is sad, there's still something great about this, because everything indicates that the crew knew this show was ending, which means they got to end it on their own terms. Not just living up to that legacy, but doing something some things never get. I love comics, not just the Disney Duck comics you can see down on my bottom shelf, but also superhero comics. But there's a big difference between those. Superhero comics never end. There's no ending to Peter Parker's story or Superman's adventures. And sometimes a good ending can be really satisfying. And so, although I'm sad to see this show go, and I was really hoping for more, I'm also really looking forward to seeing what satisfying ending the creators are going to give us. Because I've learned to trust them a lot. And not that they need my trust, but I definitely trust what they do. And it's going to be really fun to see what they give us to end it. And the really important thing to remember is it's never really over. And I'm not talking about the possibility that Disney might order a direct-to-Disney Plus movie or something down the line, which is possible, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these characters that you love. If you're sad that Ducktales is ending, they're not going away. These characters have been in print since the 40s. They've been having adventures for years, and they're going to keep having adventures. If you want to see more Disney Duck stuff in the future, well, first of all, you've still got more Ducktales. By the episode count we have left, this show's still going to be on the air into the first few months, or at least the first month of 2021. The show's not over, but beyond that, look at how many comics there are down here. And this is only just the tip of the iceberg. This is just most of the Don Rosa collection and most of the Carl Barks collection, but there's more than that, and there's way more coming out of countries like Sweden and the Danish countries, and I don't actually know, but it's all overseas. There's always going to be more adventures with these characters, and this isn't the last time we're going to see them animated either. So, I don't know. That's it. That's it for this little video. I wanted to talk about this. It's sad we're losing the show, but that's okay. But even though the show's going away, like I said, DuckTales definitely isn't, and neither am I. We're going to finish out these reviews for the season. We're going to talk about it some more, and we're going to start trying some new things. I don't know where I'm going to go after DuckTales, but it'll be somewhere, and I hope to take you guys with me. This was just a quick video, off the cuff. I actually had other plans to say goodbye to DuckTales since I knew it was ending. And we'll get to those in the coming months. But for now, I'm sorry to say that, yeah, it's true. The show's ending. And thank you to everyone who worked on this show. I'm going to say this again in a future video, but it has been a true gift to be able to be a part of a show that meant something to me, even in a fan way, in some way. As a kid, I may have had dreams of trying to become the person that Frank became and Matt became and all of them became working on this show. But my life didn't go in that direction, and that's okay. Might go in that direction later. Who knows? But being part of this, in even a small way, has meant a lot to me. So thank you, creators, for making this show happen and giving us fans a place to come together and enjoy it. But we're not done yet. And we can't wait to see what you guys do next. That's it. Seriously, that's it for this little video. Thank you for watching. Please share, if you're watching this, in the comments below your favorite memories of the show, what you hope happens at the ending, and share recommendations for the thousands of great comics you can read about these characters. That's it, though. Till next time, breathe easy, have hope for the future, and remember, take it easy, Internet.